Bhodi Daishin here, the Italian Buddhist, and this is Urban Buddhism. Today I'm going to talk about something very simply called presence, being present. What is being present? You hear that a lot nowadays. We talk about mindfulness and being present, being still. Why do we be present? Why not live in the past? Why not live in the future? You ever notice that every once in a while you will anticipate things. You start, I call it greeting the devil before he comes to the door. You get worried and anxious, and I've done it all my life where I can't believe it. This might happen, I'm not sure. You might get upset with someone at work or anticipate that they're going to do something, and then you start having feelings about the things that you assumed were going to happen. They haven't even happened yet. You're living in the future. They haven't happened yet, so what happens is you start having emotions about it, and then you get angry at somebody and they haven't even done anything yet because you have projected and you live in the future. Or in the past, maybe I've been in a relationship or someone said something to me and I relive it over and over and over again. I call it kind of like the resentment machine. I don't know if you remember when Joe Theismann, who was an American football player many years ago, he was a quarterback, he got hit and his leg was broken. It snapped right on the field, and they showed it over and over again. They were like, "Oh my goodness, this is terrible. This isn't for the faint of heart." But they kept showing it and showing it and showing it. And every time they showed this man's leg break, it took on grander proportions. That's what I do with resentment. That's what I do with pain in the past. It runs over and over and over and over and over in my mind, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So then it's blown way out of proportion, and it's not even the event that happened. Maybe someone was angry with me or said some harsh words, or I might have been in an argument with a family member, or whatever the story is. And that's one thing, but by the time my brain is done with it, from living in the past, I relive that suffering, and that pain goes over and over and over. And it affects everything that I do. It affects everything that you do. When you live in the future or when you live in the past, you get emotions that carry on, and we suffer. And then when we talk to people, you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just blah, 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 blah." Well, I wouldn't have to do that if I wasn't living in the past or in the future and feeling all sorts of emotions that I don't even have to suffer about if I'm present. And I'm talking about being present not as an escape from the past or the future, but the past and the future have no bearing on my decisions and my life. Yes, I have to, and not anticipate, but I have to think, obviously, before I speak and so forth. And if I'm planning things for the future, there's nothing wrong with making a plan. I'm talking about how I get attached, how we get attached to things in the future or in the past that prohibit us from being present. Now, I want to tell you a short story that it's amazing. It really is. I was at a pancake place recently, and a friend of mine was with me, and I was eating, as fate would have it, these great pancakes. Now, there's a door there with panes of glass, and there was a boy. He had to be about two and a half. And he had a little mark on his nose, so the kid was like a savage, running around and smacking his head in his face and this stuff. It was amazing. It was completely incredible. Now, what made it incredible is he kept tapping. He was tapping on the window, going like this and waving to me, and I'm going and waving back to him and everything. And it occurred to me, and I looked at my friend and I said, "Do you see that? He is absolutely present. That kid is not living in the past. He's not living in the future. He's not worried about what he's going to have for lunch that day. He's not upset because his mother said something to him or scolded him. He is absolutely in the present. No one taught him how to do it. He just is doing it." You know what was on his mind? Tapping on glass. That was on his mind. That was his agenda. Waving to somebody that he didn't know. He's waving to me and having a blast doing it. I looked at my friend and I said, that's what I try to do. This kid is already there, and I try as much as possible to be like a 2.5-year-old child and be present. That That is important. That shows me something. What that shows me is that it is inert. We have that. We have the ability already to be present, to be generous, to be compassionate. It's all there, folks. It's all there. We just taught ourselves and learned differently. I've said it before. This is like a child that can completely defy the laws of gravity on a bicycle. This kid rides over high wires. He's going over balance beam, tree branches and stuff. He is amazing on a bicycle. It completely defying the laws of gravity. It looks like a miracle what this kid is doing. And the first time this child falls is when some adult explains gravity to him and tells him he's not supposed to be able to do it. Guess what? The kid starts to learn to fall. We do that with being present. We do that with anticipating things. We do that, and all of a sudden we learn to have anxiety and to be upset and to assume and to take things personally. We don't have to do that. If I try my best, if I pause when agitated or doubtful, if I breathe, one of the ways that I can be present is when I get into whatever situation I'm doing. It could be ironing clothes, it could be cooking oatmeal, it could be eating. Slow down. Focus. I focus on the breath. And count each breath up to 10. It slows me down. It connects me with the present. It connects me with right here. If my thoughts wander off into the future or into the past, I just gently bring my concentration back to the breath. Or ironing, maybe just passing the iron over the clothes. Or if I'm eating, chewing the food slowly and enjoying it. Being present, being aware of my surroundings. It really does help, folks. And if all else fails, just tap on glass. I'm Bhodi Daishin, talking about just being present. And if you have any questions, write to me at Bhodi, Bhodi, at ItalianBuddhist.com, or go to www.ItalianBuddhist.com. Namaste.